Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. That is it. The horn is sounded. We are off. We're back. We're running, and we're sweating.
Again.
We don't know. It could be us. It could be the fact that we can't figure out a thermostat. I don't know. But it is unusually warm. Is that a word?
Well, it shouldn't be this warm at this time of the morning, man.
It is a little toasty in here.
I mean, look, we've been here for a few years. If it's working properly, it shouldn't be like this. Okay? Where are you, talent, heating, and air? We need you.
So just a heads up, if you are in the office after us, come dressed comfortable because it is once again a little toasty in here. Speaking of turning up the heat, Matty Cartron yesterday.
Nice.
Turned up the heat.
That was a little bit clutch.
Yeah, bottom of the seventh inning.
Yeah.
Matty Cartron goes gone, gone, gone. A home run, a solo blast for her in the bottom of the seventh. The UAH Chargers knock off Valdosta State in the Gulf South Conference softball opening round matchup 2-1. So the Chargers stay in the winner's bracket.
They do.
Doesn't get easier for them, but that's exactly what Coach Studeman wanted. And that's exactly what she'll get because this afternoon, this afternoon, it's going to be the 6 o'clock game.
It's early evening.
Yep. They get number 1 Mississippi College. So there you go, Coach. There's your resume builder.
Well, she was already talking about it, that they had to beat the 5 seed and then they were going to get a shot at the title, which is the 1 seed. And I guess you could say the regular season conference champion. So they get a shot at Mississippi College and to build that resume. And, to come in, I think they have 38 wins now. I think they had 37. And to have 38 and not be in that top 8, it is hard to swallow. I mean, especially with the lineage of the program at UAH, and they are the defending Gulf South Conference tournament champions as well. But as Coach laid out, I mean, they had a rough beginning to conference play. Now, they're playing a lot better now, but they lost their first 3 series, and that's what kind of put them behind the 8 ball. But the key is to be playing your best now, and Maddie got that huge bomb to walk it off against Valdosta State, and now they get a shot at Mississippi College, and I'm sure the Diet Pepsi got a workout yesterday.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can join the program. You can join the show on what is today? Thursday morning. The good news is the transfer portal window has closed.
We think. I guess.
It has
last-minute paperwork trying to be processed so some other, guys some other portal entrants can make their debut, I guess. But, we'll see. We'll see who's cutting and running, as I like to say.
Over 45 players alone yesterday made the mad dash into the portal on the first day.
Yeah.
So, or not first day, the last day of the transfer portal. So you're still going to hear a few names go into the portal from now until probably the next week or so.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see if there are any Auburn, any Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, any other SEC guys hitting the transfer portal between now and then. So it doesn't appear to be any big names at this moment. I know there are people that are curious. There are people that wait for this, but no, there is none.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be guys that are from in most cases Power 5 or going to be high-profile players. It's going to be role guys that you can bring in for depth purposes. Alabama has already set up for a couple of visitors for the weekend with a couple of late portal entrants, and they're both experienced secondary guys, because they've been trying to add some experience to said secondary, because they have lost two guys in the last few days. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Tony Mitchell, rising sophomore, and then true freshman Peyton Woodyard. Both of them went into the portal. Neither unexpectedly. I mean, let's get real. Tony Mitchell's was reported that was very likely to happen a couple weeks ago. They delayed it, but he finally put his paperwork in. Peyton Woodyard, if you follow the right people and do your due diligence, he had told the coaches right after A-Day, hey coach, I'm out. I'm going to be moving on. So that's the reason they've been scouring and looking for depth, because they knew a couple guys were going to leave, and they've got a couple of guys coming in the coming days. Isaiah Hamilton of Houston. He's a corner that is going on the market, and then also Deshaun Jones of Wake Forest, and both those guys. And I believe Deshaun has confirmed that he will be in this weekend. We will see on Isaiah Hamilton, but both those guys from Houston and Wake Forest, respectively, are coming in to visit. I'll say this: I don't know Alabama's exact number scholarship-wise. Yeah. But if they're bringing guys in, they have spots. And my guess would be that they at least have 3 or 4 spots left where they can fill out the 85 with a certain numbers that they want to hit. And so they're bringing in guys for depth and or to compete to start, and for experience purposes. I mean, I know that the kid they brought in the other day, Cameron Howard, from Charlotte, was still a relatively young player, only going to be a sophomore, but he did play last year on the group of 5 level. And I think that was kind of in response to losing Tony Mitchell and or Peyton Woodyard. Both of those guys very similar in age than Howard, and really Howard had more experience than both of them. Not in the SEC per se, but he played against some group of 5 Power 5 teams, some really good competition. He came from a great high school program in St. Francis, where his former coach, Biff Poggi, is now the head coach at Charlotte. So I think from the understanding, Alabama, the coaching staff, the new staff knew these 2 kids were leaving the Tide, and so they were doing their homework. Right. And you hear through the grapevine guys that could potentially go in the portal. I mean, that's how this is done. I mean, we complain about the tampering, but that's the way it's done. That's the way you find out. We had a young man at UAH, Tommy Murr, who almost went into the portal. Okay? Right. And so that's just the way it works, man. And he's going to stay home, looks like, finish his career at UAH. And that's great. He had a really solid first year there. But, I mean, that's just the way it is.
These agents now, I mean, here's the thing. Most of all of these big-time players have agents now. Yeah, they do.
We talked about Cliff Amore.
The agents reach out. I have to believe the agents reach out to certain programs. Do you not
or
believe
handlers,
that?
Whatever you want to call them. I mean, if you don't have a agent in where that you are employing that is your representation, you have someone that's a third party. Whether it's an AAU coach or a guardian.
Is it like these college coaches where they say, oh, guess what? I've never talked to such and such a school. It's the agents that are talking to the school. You think the players are at that point now where
the coaches get reached out to? They don't get reached out to by the players. They get reached out to by a third party, and then they tell the third party, I want them. Tell them to go in the portal. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
And until the NC Double Dumb and some of these other idiots get together and decide to put some guardrails on this stuff. Because I'll say this, I don't think now we're not shocked that it's become a free for all, but probably the NCAA is and everything. And
you think they are? Do you think they're sitting in their offices saying, "Man,
well, I mean,
it's
pretty crazy when you're reported, well, so and so just committed to Arkansas, and he according to insiders, which has got to be the quote unquote agents, third parties, whatever.
Yes.
He's getting paid $1 million plus. He's going to skip out on the NBA probably and take the $1 million NIL from and the Tyson chicken and the Walmart gift cards and play a year for Calipari and lose in the second round of the tournament in the round of 32 or whatever the hell happened, Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll make the Final Four. Maybe he'll put together a roster and they roll. And so far, I would guess you could say Kentucky and Arkansas have put together close to 2/3 of their rosters, and they're impressive. But they got to finish out their rosters.
It's really hard, and I can see why coaches are frustrated because it's hard to go in and say, like, with everything that's going on. Now, the fans' expectations are one thing.
Right.
The expectations of the athletic directors, I'm wondering what is going on in their mind as far as athletic directors go, as far as expectations go right now. Because if you're spending all this money and you bring in a John Calipari, you bring in, for Alabama, you bring in a Kalen DeBoer, Kentucky brings in Mark Pope. You bring in all these coaches now. Do you sit there in the office and you say, it used to be, hey, I'm going to give you 4 years. You go out, you recruit, you build your team. I want to see what you're going to do. I'm going to give you time to do this. I'm wondering what the expectations are now when these athletic directors, how different they are versus the fans' expectations.
Well, I mean, look, man, you're going to be expected with the portal the way it is now. You're going to be expected to win and win quickly. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's why the Coach K's, the Roy Williamses, so many of these all-time great coaches, Jay Wrights, are getting out.
Right.
Because they didn't like the player movement and because you look at Villanova, they recruited great players, but they didn't get a ton of McDonald's All-Americans, but they did a great job of developing. Their guys stayed. North Carolina did get McDonald's All-Americans, but for the most part, they didn't have guys leaving to go to other schools. If they left, they went to the NBA because they were good enough. I mean, Coach K had a mixture of guys that stayed, also the one and dones and then the early NBA entrants, but they all decided to get out. And I think it was part of the reason. I think it's part of the reason Nick Saban did. Do I think it was the whole reason a lot of these guys got out? No, but I think it was a big part of it. And it's just harder to build a roster now. It's like Jeff Goodman said via his, Goodman Hoops, his X account. He said, man, I used to like it when you get to know these staffs, these assistant coaches, and you had to be a great recruiter. And these guys were great recruiters that knew how to build relationships and go get players and knew how to find kids and go and recruit them and get really good talent. Now it's just all about, hey, dog, we got this much NIL, how much you want. He goes, you can go out and build a team. Now, there's no guarantees because last year Villanova was thought to have one of the top 2 to 3 portal classes. John Fanta of the Field of 68, who I respect, excellent basketball mind. If I remember correctly, in the preseason, he picked them to win it all, and they sucked. They didn't even make the NCAA tournament. I don't even think they made the NIT. They were terrible. And because, again, it's just like kind of what Arkansas and Kentucky are doing because their rosters were decimated to the point where they brought in new coaches, and so they're having to completely rebuild their rosters. And it looks as though they're both going to be really talented, but is it going to work? That's going to be the fascinating part. Like, are you going to get all these pieces to fit together and win?
Does a national championship as a coach buy you more time or less time right now?
Of course.
I mean, it's the same amount of time. I mean, I don't know.
It still buys you time.
I don't know why I'm thinking of it. I'm just like, okay. It's just
only if you're as stupid as Ed Ogeron does it not buy you much time. But you get but you would roll back now. Roll back. Yeah.
Did you wonder though? I mean, guys like Gus. I mean, Gene Chizik. These guys that they go on, they win this national championship in a flash. You wonder if they could have gone out and hit the portal and bought a new team to keep themselves relevant or keep themselves employed. Yeah. 7:14. Let's get a break in. Oh wow! I did not see this yesterday. That Bucky lost a big one in the portal.
I did not see this.
Acor, the big guy,
best player.
Yeah, he's in the portal. Entering the portal. Yeah, wow, I did not see that.
That's
all SoCon first team.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. He was one of the 2 best players in the SoCon. So and up until that point, I thought we had talked about Bucky and they have an underrated NIL program. They've done a great job, but it just goes to show you that even till the last minute, you got to hold your breath because again, Bucky did a great job recruiting that kid, developing that kid, and You know, and the funny thing is, like, his first year at Samford, he was signed as a JUCO. He didn't play a lot. He didn't average much, but man, he improved exponentially last year. And so if Samford does lose him, selfishly, I hope he comes back. But in most cases, that doesn't happen. But man, that's tough if he does lose him at the last minute.
All right, let's get a break in. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can give us a call this morning on a Thursday morning.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
AL cert number 21014.
Are those high utility bills driving you crazy this time of year? If they are, Talent Heating and Air has the special for you.
That's right. We're going to run a $49 spring checkup on your system. We're going to come out, we're going to check those heat kits, make sure that everything was working through the winter right, and then we're going to also make sure your Freon's good, make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
How important is that to be done this time of year?
It's really the most important time of the year. We can avoid safety concerns caused by wintertime use, and then we can also make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
And to get ready for the summertime, you just got to call
256-503-4490.
Or you can find them online at
TalentHVAC.com.
That's Talent Heating and Air. One more time.
256-503-4490.
Talent Heating and Air. Let them save you money.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 256-576-4977. That's the number to join us this morning. Do we have someone? Richard is with us this morning. I thought we did. Good morning, Richard.
What's up,
Morning,
Richard?
guys. Hey, I don't know if I'll be able to call in. You need to go through my agent handler from now on if I'm calling in. So
Yeah.
That's the way it is now. Now, you know, we used to laugh at that in the NFL because it was like you got to go through the agents, and then coaches were the same way. It's like, oh, I never talked to such and such a school. Well, now it's the players doing that as well, because you see it their agent.
The head coaches have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
With, the agent. Drew, one thing, you were talking about Jeff Goodman, and it may be kind of relative to Alabama because Alabama has one open coaching slot, for basketball.
They do, yeah.
And the rumor is they're going to hire somebody from the NBA.
And that would make some sense because they're all trying to wrap up and play horrendous basketball and then be done.
Well, also, you were just talking about, though, you don't need relationship. I mean, you need to build them, but you don't need to, in the past, you would hire somebody like to replace Petway.
Yeah.
You would have hired somebody with, Southeastern ties.
Right.
Out. And Murphy, has ties all over the U.S., but, Pannone, I think, was up at Buckhorn a day or two ago.
He
was in Austin yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But, but he had no college ties at all, really. I mean, Wallace State.
Yeah.
I mean, big
True.
deal. But, if they're looking at another guy, you don't need to have these connections with these high school coaches because, like you said, they're still going to see them play AAU and go out and beat the guys. But, if you don't pay enough money, you're not getting them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. That's what Goodman was talking about. It's basically you. Now, I mean, as somebody you pointed out to him, and we talked about the Villanova angle. Just because you have good NIL doesn't guarantee success. But like Goodman said, you need it right now to get players. I mean, that's.
Well, I mean, Arkansas is a perfect example last year.
Oh yeah. Except except Ernest T. He signed the wrong players and. He built a flawed roster, and then
that's going to happen, though,
went
right?
under 500.
Is that going to happen more often?
If you make bad decisions, yes. I mean, if you do.
Alabama has a group. I guess maybe it's the same fellow that helps them kind of do the scouting. The guy, the fellow that used to be the minor league baseball player. Mm-hmm. But they use like an outside service to kind of make sure. I don't know. I have no clue how it works. But they use an outside service to kind of, I think, with NIL money and also the fit.
Yeah.
Where they've had a pretty good, because, Waukee last year, you needed a big man, and you only could, you were pretty limited in who you could grab. But the other ones, Nelson, Strada, and Reitzel, basically you would give them all A's just about, for the.
Yeah, Murphy was a huge in getting all those guys, and like I said, Cliff Amore, I believe he's slated to arrive today with his entire crew for the UNC visit, and then supposedly this is the last one, and he's going to make his decision. But and when we know, and there's probably a reason on Yenso, we haven't heard anything happening with him.
He's in the NBA draft.
Yeah, and he is. He's going through the process, but Alabama hasn't amped that up because, again, Amore was the top guy. I mean, they're definitely willing to wait.
One thing too with Amore, you're going to know something in a day or two.
Yeah.
If the other fellow's going through the draft, he could still stay in even if he commits to you.
Oh, he could.
So
I mean, Calipari has allocated $1 million to my man from Florida Atlantic, but he signed with Arkansas officially. Now we'll see if he ultimately takes his name out. He probably will. I think there's a strong, chance for that. Just like I think there is for Jaron Stevenson to come back to Alabama. Oh, yeah. But Alabama's trying to get all the other pieces and then be willing to wait out Mark Sears' process until the end of May. Now, they waited out Bediakos last year. You already mentioned that, Richard, and they didn't get the answer they wanted. And that's why they had to go get Mohamed Wagee.
Well, Sears, they sort of have replacements,
right.
between Philon and Holloway.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
The other defensive coaches, to me, it looks like they're looking for a defensive specialist after last year that may not have any college coaching experience at all.
Well, I know of one.
Going after better coaches like with Pannone.
Yeah.
They're going after these guys that are more experts, and because you're basically buying guys now.
Well, I don't know that he'd be willing to come back to his alma mater again, but I know one that worked out for a year really well before he went back to the WNBA and the NBA, and that's T.R. Dunn.
Well, he's fairly old. I mean, he's probably close to 70.
Right.
And he
I'm really just half joking there, but I mean, he did do a hell of a job for Mark Gottfried for the 1 year.
Well, no, if you know what my thing is on Tighter Insider, that's what the 23 stands for. T.R. Dunn. That's my favorite player. That's what it stands for. I saw him play in high school even.
Right.
So. No, but I would just say, you brought that up, but I was just thinking they may be going after kind of a defensive expert after, last year, kind of like Pannone is the offensive expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
See you guys later.
Thanks, Richard. Hey, the air is on, by the way.
Is it really?
Yes, I can feel it. It's actually cooling down in here.
Now, did somebody just turn it off?
I don't know. I just know that it's actually, I have fresh air. I can feel it now. So
You can feel it.
yes, it is getting cooler in here.
Yeah,
so
it
something just
does
kicked
kind
in.
of feel that way.
Yeah, something just kicked in.
Our NIL money came in.
Hey, speaking Jeff Goodman, I know you've been talking about it. This is the tweet he put out.
Right.
I miss the days when a terrific recruiter was so valuable in college sports. He says, now it doesn't really matter. You can be a terrific recruiter, but if you don't have any NIL, you aren't getting any players. And you can be a blank recruiter.
I was going to say, you're going to have to – I got in trouble for that. You're going to have to be
it's
careful.
It's the word you got in trouble for that begins with S.
When I had to talk about Joseph Pissant.
You can be a S recruiter, but if you have NIL, you still be able to get guys.
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying. I mean, that's what he's saying is that he misses the days when you would have to hit the recruiting trail and get guys. You would have to work to get guys to come to your campus. Now you can be a crappy-ass recruiter, a crappy-ass coach, and as long as you have a lot of NIL money,
Mike Woodson,
you can get players.
Because that's what I'm sorry. That's what I think of Mike Woodson, the Avery Johnson of Indiana.
But he's got NIL and he can go out and get guys.
Both of them good dudes. I have no problem with either one of them. Both good, really good guys, but I just don't think they're great coaches.
Juwan Howard in that equation as well?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean,
he's no longer coaching in college. He's an assistant now back in the NBA.
Well, that's just somebody's already hired him in the NB Double Dumb for real. Just shocking. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll bring the energy in a playoff game.
But there's a lot of coaches, even on the college football level. There's a lot. I mean, look at what Lane Kiffin is doing. Is Lane Kiffin is he? I mean, is he a good coach? No, is that answer.
He is not. He's never beaten anybody of substance, except Tennessee.
But he's using the NIL funds that he has to bring in guys.
Yeah, he is. And at the same time saying that they got to fix NIL.
Well, the thing is, look, there's a lot of coaches that are going to tell you they got to fix it, but they're going to take advantage of it.
We had a listener that made a good point. Like, if you're looking for defense, why the hell are you looking in the NBA? That is a good point. I mean, because Scott, look at these playoff games. I mean, they're scoring 250 points.
I'm not looking at them.
Well, I'm not. I'm just seeing final scores. I mean, this is regulation stuff. It's 125 to 115. I mean, good Lord, it used to be in the playoffs. It was hard to get to 100, and if you got to 110, that was basically the Lakers and Magic Johnson back in the day.
Because it was showtime.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord.
Oh yeah, the Mavericks and the Clippers, 123-93 was the final there. The Celtics, 118-84 over the Heat.
Yeah, the Heat just didn't bring the energy. They weren't interested. They were ready to play golf.
Boston won the series 4-1. Dallas leads their series 3-2.
Yeah. Kyrie may finally win another playoff series after he hadn't done anything since he made the shot for Cleveland, except for, be against vaccination. And I'm not even totally against that. I'm just saying. Remember, because he could only play home games or whatever, or was it road games?
No,
whatever it was.
It was home games. Couldn't play any road games.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I think it was actually he could only play road
because he couldn't play home. Because
he couldn't play at home because of Fauci.
Kind of like, yeah.
I mean, come
on.
How
the hell did we go from that to NBA? We've talked more NBA there in the last 2 minutes than we have all season.
Well, because Richard made a point, and it is a point there, because Nate Oates went to the NBA to get Ryan Pannone from the New Orleans Pelicans last year.
Right.
And he could do it again. If he had, I've heard that it was going to be from his inner circle, and he's taking his time, but there could be someone in his inner circle that's in the NBA, because he does pattern a lot of what he does offensively and defensively in the NBA, because there have been, basically buzz from front office people and insiders in the NBA that they consider Alabama, like an NBA franchise with the way they run their program offensively and defensively. So he may be looking for a defensive guru. There's probably somebody in the NBA that teaches defense.
I'm sorry, I just read something that just made me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Charles Barkley sat down with Shannon Sharp on a podcast.
Oh, okay.
And
who took a breath first?
This is an excerpt of it.
Okay.
Michael Jordan's son is dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
Well, I heard that was over. That, according to what I heard, that was 3 or 4 months ago. That's ancient history in this kind of thing.
Good
but who
Lord.
the hell knows? I don't know.
Good Lord.
But they were all with Scottie coming out with this book trying to stay relevant. I mean, he and Jordan. I mean, but I'll say this too. From what I understand, the Charles and Jordan, none of them talk anymore. Because
that's crazy.
Because years ago, Charles and Michael had a disagreement, and then about how Jordan was running the Hornets. And let's be blunt, it hasn't been good. Look, Michael is the greatest player to ever play basketball, but as an executive, the Hornets suck.
Yeah,
okay?
he's out of that. He's sold that.
Oh, I know, but
but
it just hasn't been good. Okay,
I know.
But and Charles kind of talked about it. You know, he said Michael had too many yes men around him that won't tell him no, won't tell him you need to do this, you need to do that. Michael took umbrage of it. And then we know what Scottie Pippen has done since, basically since COVID, because that's when the Bulls documentary came out, and he didn't like the way he was portrayed in that. And for whatever relationship Michael and Scottie had at that point is done. I mean, from what you hear anyway. And Scottie's taking shots at Michael, which is stupid because they were great for each other. And to be honest with you, I watched the documentary like everybody else. I didn't think Scottie was done wrong. I thought Michael said he was the best teammate he ever had. I just think it was Scottie trying to sell books. But Scottie's one of the top 75 players of all time. He's one of the few great teammates that Michael had. Michael had a lot of great role players, but truly great teammates, he had about 3,
Right.
It was basically Scottie, Horace Grant, and Horace wasn't a Hall of Fame player, but he was a really good player, and then Dennis. Okay? And then it was a bunch of role players, a bunch of good ones that played their role tremendously well, and a Hall of Fame coach. Okay? They had a Hall of Fame coach. There's no question about that. And there's not many of them in the NBA. I know Darvin Ham's about to get fired. What the hell? Who cares? Ledum getting another one fired? Because he basically coaches the team, doesn't block out, doesn't defend, is lazy, and then they want to make excuses for him. I like Magic calling them all out. All this load management junk. AD's made of glass. He's a great player. He's a great talent, but he's made of glass.
Let's get a break in. Our good friend Bill Bender has put just a new article out, and he calls it Ranking Best Programs of the College Football Playoff Era. But
just talking about the Phoenix Suns owner. Yeah, they're great, all right. It looked great.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk some college football.
NBA over.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and asking for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge. Now let's see what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policies. Oh, what is that? That's just my tail. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects. There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still my tail.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the show. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can join the show, join the conversation this morning. You know what? Since we were talking basketball, I got some college football news and notes, but
yeah,
we'll blend it into basketball because Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark was trying to figure out where he was at yesterday. They had the Big 12 annual spring meetings yesterday.
Right.
The SEC spring meetings are coming up in Destin, and they'll come up later next month. But Brett Yormark has said and went out on record and said, because they were discussing this yesterday, that the Big 12 coaches, the 16 coaches in the Big 12, because remember now, these are the first spring meetings with the new coaches and all that stuff going forward, they are unified in favor of expanding the NCAA basketball tournament field.
Yeah. I saw this. I'm not
as to many as 80 teams. 80 teams.
Shut up. I mean, give me a break with this. I mean, come on. Just say your conference isn't. Well, in which is the Big 12, right?
The Big 12, yes. 16 teams.
They were
Big 12.
disappointed because they gagged in the postseason this year.
The 76-team tournament has emerged as a popular model among all of the power brokers in college basketball.
76.
76 teams.
Gotcha. Adding 8 more. Okay. I think it's just fine the way it is.
But what's the harm in adding 8 more teams? It's not watering down the field, is it?
I mean, because then you'll have Tim Blowhard talking about who the 77th is. You know what I'm saying? He'll be trying to get Western Union in the tournament again if they don't win the conference tournament. You know. And by the way, it's pretty much a miracle. But I'll give Western Union a lot of credit. He said he was going to stay at. Very, very likely stay at McNeese State for another year before moving on. His name came up for a couple jobs, but he's staying in McNeese.
Does anybody really want him, though?
I mean, his name came up. I know
his name comes up.
I know
the
Arkansas
agent could be just putting that out there.
Before they got Calipari, they definitely a lot of their fans were clamoring for him. So. I mean, but if he has back-to-back, 30-win seasons, I'm sure he's going to end up back in the Power 5. And he did a remarkable job in year one. I mean, Jeff Goodman talking about the way teams are built now at this day and time. That's why Will has a job. I mean, because it's all legal now, man. And he can talk about it out in public, being able to how he can build a squad. So.
256-576-4977. You want to join us on a Thursday morning? Feel free to do so. Yep. Bill Bender has put together an article that he went through and said, okay, Sporting News, they've ranked 12 college football programs of the college football playoff era. These schools, he says, are likely going to be the regular 12-team playoff schools. And he's listed a formula to determine that said, okay, these 12 teams, just get used to it because these are going to be the 12 teams that are going to be regulars in the college football playoff.
Well, now they're complaining about the regulars. It was the 3 or 4, and now they're going to be complaining about the 12, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it may all be the same.
I think it's going to be a lot of the same.
He said that he took into consideration on points, national championships, national championship appearances, college football playoff appearances, your New Year's Six appearances, your winning percentages, consensus All-Americans, draft picks, and Heisman Trophy winners. That Heisman Trophy winners got you 1 point.
Yeah.
So the 12 that he said, get used to it, these are going to be the regulars.
Yeah.
Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, LSU, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Washington, Oregon, Penn State, Florida State.
I'm going to be interested with this whole Notre Dame thing about their, they're without them being in a conference, they're basically this rule where they have a ceiling on their seed. I just wonder how they're going to deal with this. So that's what's going to be interesting.
It'll make the playoffs pretty much every year, though.
Yeah, but if you can't be seeded 1 or everything,
they're
like
not going to
that,
be seeded 1 through 4 because they won't have a bye because they don't have a conference.
I can't believe that the Fighting Irish would even tolerate that, considering that they still think their tradition is second to none, even though they haven't done anything since they created CDs. Just let that sink in just a little bit. I didn't say DVDs. I didn't say.
If they go get their butt kicked, if they get whipped 2 years into the playoffs, they make it twice and they just get trounced because they're having to play on the road. Do you think they would reconsider getting into a conference?
I think they should, and with all this realignment going on, I just think being an independent's over. Think about BYU. Look how long they lasted as an independent.
Army's not going to be an independent this year. Army's going to be in a conference, so they're gone.
Now, I understand Notre Dame has a bigger, following than just about everybody else nationally, and that's why they were able to get this contract a long time ago from NBC. But the landscape is changing so much, and again, I don't think Notre Dame should just because they're Notre Dame, be given special privileges, but they've been given them throughout their entirety. But I think everybody should have to be in some sort of conference.
All right, let's go to Brandon on the phone lines.
And they're in a conference in every other sport.
They are. They're in the ACC.
Yeah, so they should be in a conference.
Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
Was the barbecue any good yesterday?
I did not get a chance to get there.
Oh, Scott didn't get there, huh?
Sorry. I didn't get there.
I had no idea.
I was headed out and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got a nail in a tire yesterday.
Ugh.
I'm driving along, and all of a sudden my pressure light goes like 28, 26, 25, 22, 20, 19, and it's like,
that's
crap.
Not good.
So spent a few minutes taking care of that, and then made it a couple stops, and it was like I just did not get a chance to get there.
Well, I understand. And I was listening to a good friend of y'all's show, Mr. Josh Pate, who I take credit for starting the gas station wars, because I called out Love's Truck Stop and said, why is there not a late kick cup that's refillable? And then that took off from there. So when you talk to him, I feel like I did that. So, but he's talking about the group of 5 playoff and how these people just don't want to accept that the best thing for them is a group of 5 playoff. And I don't understand why it's such a big deal, because those schools will get all of the money, they get all of the TV time, And you can't tell me that the Group of 5 playoff is not going to get some national TV love. Not going to be as big as the Power 5, but those games are still going to be out there, and you're still going to get to participate in it, and it makes it better for you. He's talking about why would South Alabama ever be expected to compete with Alabama, and he went through and broke all the numbers down of how bad it is for every one upset they get against the mediocre teams. They have 5 losses that are blowouts. And then he goes to the Alabamas and the Georgias, and the numbers are even smaller. So I guess I'm wondering, other than their pride, what is holding them back from accepting a Group of 5 playoff where they could have 32 or 48 or 60 or however many teams that they want to have?
Well, I just think
money, maybe.
I think they haven't expanded the college football Division I playoff yet. Once if this gets rolling, if it stays at 12 or it goes to 14 and it's successful, and the Group of 5 is losing 65-3 every year, that's gonna be another chain reaction where they're gonna probably end up breaking away. You know, I think it's just a step-by-step process, Brandon, and I think they're. You know, because right now we're coming off of the 4-team era, and they're going to expand, and I think it'll be successful. And when it is, the next step will be I would imagine, for the Group of 5 to break away, because again, I know they want a piece of the pie, but when you're getting your ass kicked repeatedly, and trust me, it's going to happen in football,
right? Right.
So there's going to be collateral moves made. I mean, in other words, Jacksonville State for years, and UNA on the Division II level and everything. Jacksonville State was a Division II, and then worked their way into being a 1AA power. Well, I think they'll be a really good Group of 5 program and compete for national championships on that level once they break away and establish it, because I think that's where Jacksonville State will be.
Yeah, and I mean, they pulled some big upsets off a time or two. Just where they were. They almost got Auburn. I mean, hell, they had Auburn so freaked out.
And they beat Ole Miss. Don't forget, they beat Houston Nutt. And they beat Florida State.
Oh, yeah,
they beat Florida. I had friends that was down there when they beat Houston Nutt, and they didn't know what their name was for 7 days. That place was on its head, and that's probably the most lit it ever was. I think they had to send out like skip tracers to find people. They went so off the rails when that happened.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But as far as a Group of 5 playoff, I don't know what the numbers would look like. But I wonder if they had a 16 or team Group of 5 playoff. I kind of wonder, is there anybody that we know that could tell you what they think the money for that would look like?
Not yet. But, I mean, certainly it won't be the Power 5 payout. But, look, they make some money off of the FCS playoff. And they would make even more money off of this one, because I think it would be more high profile.
Well, let's just don't let Diamond Sports get involved.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I have got mamas, friends of my wife's, buddy, they are having panic attacks. I sent Drew there was 150 comments on that Facebook page from people yesterday. I sent Drew that these mothers, son, they do not miss a chance to see Matt Olson, and they are just losing their mind. I know one girl said, I'm getting DirecTV as fast as I can get it. And I said, well, by the time they get out there and put it in, I said, the Braves will probably have all that worked out. I said, I don't think it's going to go more than a week before something will be done.
Right.
So, but it just absolutely amazed me that they let that happen in the middle of that, and that baseball has done nothing about it yet. I really wonder if the MLB will eventually end up stepping in and actually doing something on it.
We'll see. I wouldn't count on Rob.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. Thanks for the phone call. Let's get a break in. Husky Dan, we'll get to you right out of the break.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Here. Joyce ready to go again. Next offering. Fastball swung and missed. That one launched. Deep left. Allen won't even try. He'll watch it leave the yard. Pitch is ripped. Deep center field. Back on it goes Tatum. At the track, looks up, and it's out of here. A home run.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If you knew a local restaurant was featured on America's Best Restaurants on YouTube's Bring the Heat, would you not want to try it? Of course you would. So come on down to Lo Capone's and enjoy authentic Italian food and live entertainment daily. Everything is made fresh at Lo Capone's. Mama's secret lasagna recipe, the pizza dough, the sauces, all made fresh daily. And Lo Capone's bar is fully stocked to round out your dining experience. In Florence and now in Huntsville on University Drive. Come on down to Lo Capone's.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 7:52 on a Thursday morning. Let's go out to the phone lines. Husky Dan is with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Husky.
Hey, how's it going?
Good guy.
Yeah,
Good.
I think I just kind of want to talk about NIL and all of that.
Sure.
I just think it's kind of totally ruining college football. I think you're not seeing the player development anymore, and I think teams that are going to be able to develop their player, I think that's one of the reasons why Alabama first saw that and took the board, because that's what he does, is he developed players. But there's no camaraderie, so I think you are going to see more upsets from some of these teams that end up developing their players and having players on there for 3-4 years. Teams like I watched teams like Oregon and USC. They would get all of the players and all of the 5-star talent and all the NIL guys, and they didn't have any camaraderie. And then our players they played with each other for years, and they worked with each other, and it was just completely different. So, I mean, and that's kind of what I'm just not seeing. That type of, with all this NIL and stuff, I think the players are more concerned about, their cars and their girlfriends and all this other stuff. And I think you're going to have more and more upsets, basically, or teams that aren't as good.
Yeah.
What do you think on?
All right, thanks for the phone call, Husky Dan. Thanks for that, and then we'll unpack that here. Let's get to Jeremy real fast as well. Good morning, Jeremy.
What's up, Jeremy?
I got some bad news from Brandon on his guess about how long it's going to take for Diamond Sports to resolve this with Xfinity.
Right.
Dish Network hadn't had Valley Sports in 5 years. YouTube TV hadn't had them in 4, and they used to have them. They used to do regional sports. So this whole thing is not going to be wrapped up anytime soon. And what the end game for this whole thing is going to be MLB going in, finding a new, finding something like the Fox Sports Southeast used to be, which is what Valley is. I mean, they just bought out that contract,
right,
and put their name in there. But they're going to have to find. Valley's not a television production anything. I mean, but Fox Sports was. Fox Sports has the ability to do sports games. So, it's not going to. I'm for all those that are thinking it's going to be resolved here before the season's over. I sorely have to say no. It will not, and it's going to be a problem. And here's a big problem with that coming into football season. They show a lot of games. They picked up. Valley was showing ACC games. They had connections to other games, like UAB had games on there. So there's going to be some teams that kind of get the shaft in the fall too, and not be seen. So I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they resolve it soon. And now I'm looking and hearing just to swap over. I'm hearing that now the NFL owners are trying to put their 2 cents in on what the NIL should be and how it should be going. So, let's just sit back and enjoy that, and really hope that the commissioner doesn't come down to the NCAA and try to fix things like he fixed the NFL.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy. Thanks
Appreciate
for that.
it, Jeremy.
Yeah.
For the update with Bally. We'll see.
I mean,
yeah.
For those that didn't get to see it,
yeah,
Braves did win yesterday.
Right.
5-2 over the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
So
they did. I saw the final score. Hadn't been missing it so far. I can follow on social media. I like watching, but you can watch the Food Network too.
Ooh, did you watch? Is that what you watched?
I watched some of it. Yeah.
All right. We're just about done with hour number 1. Coming up in hour number 2, some high school baseball preview talk.
Well, and here's the thing and I'm glad you just said that, because I'm more in tune with high school and college anyway. So
right.
Even though I love the Braves, if I can't watch the Braves, it's not going to ruin my night. I mean, we can listen to them here on 97.7 The Zone. Should we?
We can.
And I've done that quite a bit, so that's always a good thing.
Hour 1's in the books. Hour 2 coming up next.
Coach Jared Smith, Bob Jones, big series starting later today.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
To Robertson. Settles to his left. Shot blocked again. He scores!
The action on the Dallas Stars radio network in last night's 3-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights. Dallas takes a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series. Vegas will look to stay alive this Friday night at home in Game 6. If necessary, Game 7 would be Sunday in Dallas. Vegas even on the money line. Dallas -120. The Edmonton Oilers eliminated the LA Kings 4-1. Last night it was a 4-3 victory in Edmonton. The Oilers broke it open with 3 goals in the middle period. The +450 Oilers second among bettors to win the Stanley Cup. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back in Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Hour 2 of Talking Ball. And the weather is gorgeous. The weather is beautiful outside today. Not saying it's going to be that way tomorrow. Not saying it's going to be that way for Saturday. But today it's beautiful, and that means we could get some really good high school baseball because the playoffs are back underway tonight. And in Class 7A, if you make that short drive, the short drive, you're going to be able to see some really good baseball because the Bob Jones Patriots are going to welcome the Thompson Warriors. Game 1 is at 4:30 today. Game 2 set for 7.
Absolutely, and it's going to be it's already the national, and I should say the statewide series of the week, according to the AHSAA, and the Jacks game of the week. And I was at this series last year over at Bob Jones, and man, I'm telling you what, it was standing room only. It went down to the absolute final pitch. This is the 1 and 2 ranked teams in the state of Alabama in 7A. Bob Jones number 1, Thompson number 2. Bob Jones, I know, has been hungry to get back here and under Coach Jared Smith and get back to Montgomery and have another shot to win their first state championship in school history. They have an extremely talented squad. We had Coach Smith on a couple weeks ago talking about their journey thus far, beating the number 1 team in the country in IMG, and now they are going to have a chance to in this rematch. And this is the most important baseball of the season. And then the way schedules are set up now, the area series are at the end. He talked about it being the most important baseball, and now following a series sweep of Sparkman, they will take on the Thompson Warriors over at the Bob earlier this in the early afternoon, and we're going to talk to Jared Smith about it right now. Coach, good morning.
with our lineup now pretty much. We're
Right.
playing 9-10 guys and so forth. And Gresham Baker played got 0 plate appearances last year in the playoffs as a junior. Now he's hitting third for us. He set school record for stolen bases. We're really counting on him this series. He's committed to Bevel State. Kind of an unknown guy, compared to some of these, our SEC guys per se. So he's one that really jumps out because last year this time he was just along for the ride and playing a little defense, running the bases, but never hitting any. And now he's a big part of what do we do, hitting in the middle of the order, hitting after Braden and before Zach, sandwich in the middle between two SEC guys. So really proud of the way he's performed. And I told our guys if he would have not practiced hard in playoff scenario last year because he thought, I'm not playing this year, would he be as good now? I don't know the answer, but I do know he handled it the right way last year, and he's put himself in a position to be a really good player for our team, great leader, plays the game the right way. But he's one of those that, when you list out our big-name guys, he's not one that jumps off the paper, but he's definitely a spark plug for us, no doubt.
Kind of help us break down this Thompson series a little bit more, something that we can sit here. I mean, you talked about it. There's going to be a lot of great talent on the field. But what's something that we might be missing as far as this series goes?
And I'll tell you, they can hit. We can hit too, but I think they score. What's scary is they scored like 30 runs last week, I think, in 3 games, 30, 32, something like that. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is they gave up like 30 runs also, but they haven't done that before. So I'm hoping that happens again on their pitching side, but probably unlikely. We didn't score much last week. We pitched it really well. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I think both teams are going to struggle to get the other team out consistently because both teams have hitters that the lineups are just brutal, especially 1 through 6 on both teams. And to go through those guys, through the order 2, 3, 4 times, but it's going to come down to good defense, good pitching. I mean, you can't walk a ton of guys. You got to play good defense. But, I think it's going to be a replay of last year in terms of the type of baseball you get. Both teams can run it out of the park at any given moment. That's why, last week Thompson did a great job. I think they were down 3 in the bottom of the 7th in game 3 and down 3 in the bottom of the 9th and came back and won that series. So the thing you got to, for both of us, you can't think you got a safe. There's no lead that's going to be safe tonight or tomorrow with these two offenses. And so you got to play the last pitch. And if you've already counted a win a little bit early, I think you're going to be mistaken for either team. So we just got to continue to play, and hopefully they'll hit some balls to us and catch some breaks. And at this point in the year, I mean, you got to catch some breaks. Both with two good teams, you got to play well, but sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't. So we're hoping it bounces the Patriots' way tonight, no doubt.
Well, we certainly are too, and we're talking to Jared Smith, head baseball coach of the Bob Jones Patriots, ranked number 1. They will be hosting the number 2 Thompson Warriors, starting the doubleheader today, as we have already been detailing. You'll have to get there early now, Coach. With the way they have the pitch count rules now, they've had the last few years in baseball. If you and your staff, the way you meet, if the flow of the game, I know you have to kind of play it by feel, but say one of your guys is touched up early, or if he's really got it rolling, do you take it almost inning by inning and how you kind of plan out how you're going to handle your pitching staff in games like this when you have the pitch count rules now?
Yeah, number one, we have a pitching plan. So if things go ideal, this is our plan. But then we also have, of course, the backup plan that you don't, your guy doesn't get out of the first inning of game 1, and then you got to figure out how to manage this, which actually happened last year. We had to take out our number 1 who had pitched lights out all year, struggled in the first and second, took him out, actually got him back in. He went CG. We lost by 2, I think, in the first game. So there's always a backup plan, but we're hoping it goes to schedule, but as we have it planned. But pitch counts don't have a huge effect. Once with our level, once you're a junior or senior, you throw 120 pitches. We wouldn't want to throw anybody more than that anyways. And our guys are prepared to throw, 100, 110. So Braden Booth, our number 1, I mean, he has no problem going, 100 plus pitches. He's built for it. We've rested well. I mean, we don't roll him out there on 3 days rest or anything like that. So he'll be able to handle it, and hopefully he'll go complete game. He goes late in the game most of the time anyways, but if not, we've got other guys ready. Tanner Hermish, our game 2 guy usually, or our number 2 starter, he's a low pitch count guy too, in terms of he just pounds his own, gets a lot of puts out. So pitch count's usually not an issue with him. You run into an issue sometimes in playoffs now if you got a 9th or 10th grader that's a starter for you who can only go 100 pitches, and that's really critical to try to get those guys out if you're on the other team and get their pitch count up. All of our arms are juniors and seniors. We don't have any guys we're counting on in depth of pitches that are underclassmen. So that kind of helps. You do get into, if you're trying to save an arm for tomorrow, we can't throw more than 25 pitches. So you bring a relief guy in, you have to realize if he goes over 25, I can't use him tomorrow. So do I need him to go over that to win this game, or can we save him? So, our guy, Jack Shaw, that comes out of the pen and also starts for us, that's kind of a thing with him. He'll be out of the relief today, him and Gage Wilson. But, we can't burn both of those guys and then split, and then we don't have either for tomorrow. But we also can't lose both games, and those guys never pitch, and worried about pitch count tomorrow. So it's one of those things. I mean, you've got to get to the next game, whether that's sweep today or salvage a split to get to tomorrow, depending on what happens. But so pitch count does come into effect, but winning the immediate game is always the first number one thing, and then we'll worry about the rest later. I think Frankie last week at Thompson burned like 6 guys, 6 or 7 in the game. They won because they played 2 huge long games, so they burned a lot of guys. But hey, you just had to get to the next day, and then you never know what happens, and then you score. I think 13 runs, so that helps too. So we do manage it, but like I said, it's not a huge issue most of the time, other than the relievers coming out of the pen. But the thing with our relievers, they haven't had to throw that much. Like last week, we used 2 pitchers. I mean, they threw complete games. They gave up 2 runs. But I told our other guys stay locked in. They had to pitch on Monday in practice. But the odds of us throwing 2 guys this week, are probably slim. And to win a state championship, we need way more than 2. So they got to be ready to go. And I told them yesterday, I said, I hope we don't use y'all tonight. I hope the same scenario happens and y'all are mad you didn't get to pitch because we've played so well and pitched so well, and we'll get you ready for next week. So that's kind of where it is. But it does take some thinking to prepare for it. But I think we're prepared for whatever scenario happens.
Bob Jones, head baseball coach Jared Smith, joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and Zoom as well this morning. All right, Coach, baseball's a superstitious game. Who's the most superstitious on the team?
Probably the coaches, honestly. I don't know what the player. I mean, our coaches, we had movie night last night, and last week one coach couldn't go to the movie, and he's like, should I come tonight? Or I didn't come last week. So, I mean, we wore this thick hoodie in February, March when we were playing. We beat IMG. So we had to keep wearing it. We wore that thing until it was getting 75, 80, and then we were like, dude, we can't. We need to lose a game so we can take this thing off. So the coaches are probably the worst. I honestly don't know. No player has anything really quirky that jumps out to mind, but I'm sure they all have something that they always do. But yeah, I know the coaches do, no doubt.
So no hoodies tonight.
No hoodies.
I told them we can't wear them. We'll be dead in the first game if we wear hoodies and 80.
Couldn't be worse than what we gone through this week, Coach. But
doing a show with no air.
Yeah, but we're
brutal.
Yeah, we got to do it, man. But,
we've been right.
But when you're 38-6, that's pretty good.
That is good.
No doubt about it. And that's the Bob Jones Faders. 4:30 today, Coach. Before we let you go, tickets. Is it GoFan and at the gate? I know it's going to be a packed house today.
Yeah, GoFan. I'll be tweeting the link out shortly. It'll be on X. It'll be on Instagram. It'll be on Facebook. You can also pay cash at the gate or buy a ticket at the gate. But if you can get that link before, we'll have 2 gates set up, but $12 to get in, set by the state. But I would purchase it before that. We just got to show your phone. They click it, you move on. But you can, of course, buy it at the gate. But ahead of time will save you from waiting in line, hopefully.
No doubt. Well, looking forward to being out there and seeing some high-level high school baseball. You can't get any better in the state of Alabama. Congratulations, Coach. Good luck to your team in this rematch from a Elite Eight from a year ago, man. Good luck to you, and we thank you for joining us.
Appreciate y'all having me. 2 weeks. I hope I'm back. So
yes, sir. Us too, man.
We do too.
Yes,
maybe this will be the. See, we're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
Superstitious. Let's go.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Let's get a break in. More Talking Ball when we return.
Yep.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in
Got a
sports
wreck
talk
going out
all day
westbound,
long. Tune in to Talkin'
565
Ball with
west of
Scott
the
Tyson
Parkway.
and
It
Drew
may be closer
DeArmond.
to
Each
Jordan
morning at
Lane.
7.
They're reporting now
the
with
morning
injury.
blitz
Got
with
one
Captain
at
Cole and the
Sparkman
Vandy
and
Band. At
565.
noon,
It's on the
it's the Tom
eastbound ramp
Abraham
from
Show,
Sparkman to
followed by Paul
565.
Feinbaum
Had a
and
wreck
the
on
Drive
99 in
with Wes
Limestone
Neighbors
County
and
at
Steve
Cenyard
Bolton.
Road.
The Zone
Still
is
may be
also
trying to
your
clear
home
that
for
one up, and they're
University of
having
Alabama
problems around
and
the traffic
UAH
signal
Sports, plus the
67
Atlanta
and
Braves
Eva Road.
and the High
Lots of
School
school
Sports
traffic
Streaming
out
Network
there.
and
Expert
sister
Heart
station
Care
Talk
backed
Radio
by Advanced
WCCN
Technology.
has
When you
Trash
need
Pandas
cardiac
action
care,
with Josh
you need the
Carey
heart
all
doctor,
season
Dr.
long.
Randall Burns, and the team at
97.7
Huntsville Heart
ESPN The Zone
Specialists.
and
I'm
Talk
Bob
Radio
Wallace, Avenue,
WCCN.
Captain Nick,
Listen
and the
on the air
Skywatch
or
Traffic
download
Center.
the app
Progressive
and
covers
take
pets in
them
our
with
auto
you
policy at no
everywhere.
extra charge. Now let's see what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policies. Oh, what is that? That's just Mattel. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects. There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still Mattel.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental also specializes in day and weekend rentals to homeowners? The weekend rentals is by far the best deal that they offer. If you pick up after 2 on a Friday or anytime Saturday morning, it's not due in until Monday morning before 8 a.m. for a one-day charge. For a small fee, Valley can even haul anything they carry. Valley has extremely experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
It's a Thursday morning. I am not Scott Tyson. This is the forgetful Steve Moulton, along with Drew DeArmond. Good morning, Drew. How are you?
We're pretty good. You know, like we told Coach Smith, we're troopers. You know, we've been going without air all week, pretty much. So we're sucking it up. They were wearing hoodies until.
And I keep forgetting that you guys are on camera, and this is something I don't have to deal with in the evenings.
Yeah.
And we're getting baked as well by these lights that are all around here as well.
Well, I mentioned that. I did mention that to Scott. I was like, now it might help us a little bit if we turn the lights off. He just looked at me. So I guess that was a no. So, I mean, you know. I wouldn't mind it. I mean, you know,
listen,
I have a face for radio.
But likewise. But I know those of you driving into work right now are kind of eye rolling, and yeah, I mean, I get it. We get to work in radio,
but all week we've been toughing it out. Like Coach Smith, you know, baseball coaches are superstitious, Steve, and they beat IMG Academy earlier this year, and they're wearing certain hoodies, you know, and so they wanted to keep wearing the hoodies every game. Until it got too hot, and they're like, well, I guess we're gonna have to lose a game because we got to stop wearing these hoodies because it's really hot. And so, but the thing is, Bob Jones doesn't lose many games. 38-6. So, but you know, they've stopped wearing the hoodies, you know, but they had a movie and team meal yesterday, and as he said, one of the coaches didn't come last week, and so he asked, should I not come again because we won our playoff series? So. But this one against Thompson,
it works.
Hey, this one against Thompson is going to be a great series. I was there last year. I went. You know, and it went down seriously to the final pitch. Yeah. I mean, we're talking bases loaded.
This is Thompson, Bob Jones.
Yeah. It was bases loaded over at Bob Jones. Sam Mitchell up. He's at Alabama now. He lines out to the third baseman. If it's up the line, they win it. They win it in a walk-off. Instead, the Thompson holds on and wins and goes on to the semifinals. So it was a great series. It's two great coaches, two great programs. And as you know, Steve, we're going to talk to Frankie Perez in a few minutes.
I did not realize Bob Jones is 32-4.
No, they're 38-6.
Oh,
they're updated.
My apologies. I'm going off the AHSA website.
No.
That's my bad. That's clearly my fault for going to the AHSA website.
Yeah, because you know, Bob Jones does as good a job from a social media standpoint as anybody in the state of Alabama
what's their
with their
record
baseball. 38-6.
Okay, 38-6.
So, they're pretty dang good, man. And
it also lists Thompson as 18-10.
No way. You know.
I didn't think that was right.
I mean,
but again, I'm going off the AHSA website.
Well,
my apologies.
I'm sorry when you use Dragon Dump. I mean Dragonfly. I mean, you know.
Oh no, this is Scorebook Live.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they're using, it ain't working.
That's fair to say. But nonetheless, this is a fun time of year to watch high school baseball, and gosh, I mean, Huntsville Grissom is always so fun to watch on the diamond. Well, really, with anything.
Been seeing it for years, and this year, you know, Grissom had a great second season under Jeremy Brown. They won their area.
Yeah.
Now they ended up losing a tough series on a walk-off home run to James Clemens. They lost 2-0, but both of them were extremely tight again. I think it was an 8-6, 7-6 kind of thing. They were very, very tight, but the Jets won, and now the Jets are going to travel to Hoover to take on Adam Mosley and the Bucks. The Bucks, won their first-round series.
Sounds so weird when you say Adam Mosley.
Yeah, but he's won a state championship at Hoover. He's been there now.
I know he's been there for a while, but
yeah, we all know.
I hear the Grissom roots, though.
No, I mean he played at Grissom. He coached at Grissom as an assistant.
That's
took
exactly
over the
what
program.
I'm talking about. Yeah,
he played for a state championship against Auburn. He built Grissom into one of the best programs in the state. That's why he got an opportunity to go to Hoover. So yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of great high school baseball, no doubt about it. And out at the Bob, starting at 4:30 to late this afternoon, man. It's going to be standing room only. It's going to be some great theater.
Well, it also kind of leads into this offseason, which is an interesting one for the AHSAA because they are looking for a new executive director.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a bit of a quick turnaround, honestly, from Coach Briggs.
3 years.
Yeah. So I was surprised a little bit to see him exit stage left. Were you?
A little bit. Yep, I was. But, you know, he's put in a lot of years coaching and in administration with the AHSAA, and certainly it will allow him to pursue other opportunities. He could go to another state and coach. Certainly we could see that.
Do you dare say double dip?
I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of coaches do that. We'll see. But, you know, Alvin has been a great soldier and, of course, played for Coach Dye at Auburn.
That's
we
right.
all know
That's
that.
Right. Yeah.
And he's a very popular guy. He was always very good to me. So we certainly wish
Yeah.
Coach Briggs all the luck in the world with his next step in retirement and where he goes next on his journey.
Boy, he had a lot of things to juggle with during his 3 years there at the AHSAA. But interesting to see where they are going to turn next. But where we are going to turn next is talking a little bit more about this Bob Jones-Thompson matchup. And let's go ahead and take our next time out. The Thompson Warriors will be in our crosshairs next, right here on Talkin' Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Vandy Man.
At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.
Here it comes, and there it goes. Fly ball, deep left field, way back. This one is up. This one is gone.
Grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks and get ready to cheer on the Tide.
Called third strike, a slider lower inside corner.
The Tide plays here all season long.
Here's a spin. Here's Bowman's throw home. The slide, and he's safe.
On your home for Alabama baseball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Spring is in the air, making it a great time to make plans to visit the Lodge at Guntersville State Park. The Lodge at Guntersville State Park sits on a cliff overlooking beautiful Guntersville Lake with vistas from the cliffside rooms as well as the Pinecrest Room, the Lodge's premier restaurant. And as the weather warms, enjoy the gorgeous pool that overlooks the lake as well. The park also features cabins, a beach, and a boat launch, so bring your boat to take the fun to the lake. The Lodge at Guntersville State Park. Book your visit today.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I want to thank you. Thank you for making us your #1 choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's a Thursday morning here on Talkin' Ball. I am Steve Moulton sitting in for Scott Tyson on assignment. Drew DeArmond, of course, here, and we've been previewing the Thompson-Bob Jones series that is set for to crank up tonight. But honestly, looking up more about these Warriors, Drew, what a dramatic way to get into this this round of the tournament. I mean, I can't think of a more dramatic way than a walk-off grand slam against Spain Park.
Well, look, man, this is not the first time under Coach Frankie Perez that this has happened. They had a remarkable run in 2018, his first year as a head coach, his first year as Hazel Green. They won their first state championship. It was the same thing over at Coleman. They were down to their final out, and they found a way. And his teams always seemed to. They found a way last year. I mean, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat over at Bob Jones. It's going down to the final pitch, and it's a line out, and Thompson advances in 3 games. It's going to be another standing room only crowd. Number 1 and number 2 in 7A, man. It's a must-watch high school baseball at the highest level, and we're honored to be joined via Zoom as well, as we are now getting into that. Good job, Bandy.
There you go.
As Coach Frankie Perez has been able to join us via Zoom and join us on Talkin' Ball, and it's Steve Moulton and Drew DeArmond.
I lost about 7 to 10 years of my life in those 2 days. I told staff, I said, "Hey, honey, somebody's going to have to raise our kids because I'm going to die young of a heart attack with this profession that I chose of coaching." And Drew, you brought up a great point. It's not like this just this year.
No.
Last year, Bob Johnson thing, 2018, 2018. Tyler Duskin hit that walk-off. It seems like every year something that I'm like, man, I just lost 5 years of my life in just 2-3 days. So yeah, man.
You're a young man there, Coach. You're sneaking up on meeting up that age.
I know. All right, so you're saying that 40 years old is young. I like it. Yes, I am young. Let's go.
Right, absolutely. You got 3 young kids, and you built another great program at Thompson like you did at Hazel Green, and teams reflect their coach. I know you were very emotional after the first round series last week, but it's like I was explaining to Steve, and you've moved from 6A to 7A. In 7A baseball, there's one less round, but everybody is good. So every series is a grind, and it certainly was a grind last week. But your kids, and that's what I was telling Steve. Game 3, you're down 3 going to the bottom of the 7th. You score 3 to get it to extras, and then you're down. Once again, 12-9. You get the walk-off grand slam. I mean. But your kids never give up. And I know I saw your interview after the game with AL.com and the local media. You were very emotional. But your kids have a lot of grit and determination. They certainly don't give up, Coach. And they didn't a year ago when I was sitting on pins and needles behind home plate as you guys go down to the final pitch.
Yeah, look, and I think that as a coach, I think that's what I'm proud of the most. Like, anybody in the state of Alabama has Jimmys and Joes, like everybody, there's players everywhere. But I think that what I'm proud the most in our program, it comes down to more than that. That when our backs are against the wall, our boys are not going to back down from any type of competition or pressure situation. If whoever has followed our season, our area season per se, it's been a grind for the past 4 weeks already. We lost game 1 of our area game against Vestavia. They had a very, very good lefty pitcher. He threw a CG against us. We lost 2-1. We go the very next day at our home knowing that, you go 0-2 in this area, you're probably not going to make the playoff. So our backs against the wall, we're able to sweep Vestavia at home just to get another punch in the mouth. The very next week, we got beat at home against Tuscaloosa County 4-3. They had another lefty that was extremely just threw 3 pitches for a strike. Then we had to go to Tuscaloosa County to win at least one game, to not get down 0-2 against any area team. And we were able to win. I think it was 6, 5, and 7 innings. So again, it's just pressure. And then you go into the last week of area, and you're 2-2. You play Hoover, who's 4-0, knowing I have to at least win one. If we can win one, and Tuscaloosa County sweeps, then we have to go back to Tuscaloosa County for a play-in game for to make the playoff. And then we ended up playing well that week and ended up going 4-2. But it hasn't stopped. Like, it's been 4 weeks of nonstop pressure, nonstop ups and downs. We were down 6 times in that game 3 against Spain Park. 6 times. Like, it's just like it's insane. It's insane how, like, look, and I think I heard Jared say this. It's high school sports. You're gonna get beat. But what I am proud the most is that you're gonna have to beat us. You're gonna have to put us down, because we're not going, like, we're going to play into the very, very last out. And as a coach, that's what I'm proud the most.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, I know everybody's looking for arms. Everybody is. Tell me how your pitching staff, and tell me a little bit about your arms and what you like about your staff right now, Coach.
Well, Jerry and I was, texting this week, and he was like, dude, you got like 15 arms that I have to get ready for. And that's something that I am also happy that Coach Parker and Coach Poplin do a fantastic job with those guys. So we don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per se. Last year, we were very lucky to have Landon Alton. It was just that guy. It's like, good luck. He's a sidearm guy. You're not going to beat him. You can play for game 2 and 3, and no one did. I think he went 9-1 and undefeated against 7A. But we don't have that per se this year. We just go based on matchup. We watch film. We break down film. We break down scouting report. We see what kind of can mix and match with whoever they have on the other side, and then we go from there. So. We have a plan. And hopefully it goes to that plan. But it's just like Jared said, you'll have to have plan B, C, D, and go the way down, because Bob Jones is going to be ready. Bob Jones is at home. Bob Jones is very good at home. And we are extremely proud and honored to be in back-to-back Elite Eights, ready to go. So.
Wow.
No question about it. We're super excited about it. And Coach, I asked Jared Smith this, and he let us know, about a young man that's really stepped forward in his program. You got dudes. I mean, you've got SEC guys on your team, but you've got you build great cultures wherever you go. But who's a kid maybe on your team? He doesn't even have to be a senior, but who's a kid that you're really proud of that you think has come a long way, even since a year ago, that maybe was a role player that's really stepped up and produced and become a crucial part of your success leading up to this big series in the Elite Eight against Bob Jones?
That is an easy answer, and it's an answer that if you ask any of our coaching staff or our players, they will tell you. His name is Alex Jones.
There you go.
Alex Jones has been he was a role player last year. The dude's going to be a fantastic architect. Baseball is just something that he does so he can be around his friends, and he's done it his whole life, and he happens to be very good at it, and I'm extremely proud of him. He's a senior for us. He's just quiet kid. He shows up, he hits, he goes home. Like he's just that type of kid. He's loved by everybody. If you can get 5 or 7 words out of Alex, you've done a fantastic job.
I love those kids.
No.
Just because every time they speak, it's meaningful because
right.
The words are precious. It just that's really cool, Coach.
I was actually messing with Alex yesterday. I was telling Alex, "You're gonna be a great husband, son." And he kind of looked at me and I said, "Well, because you don't talk. Most of the wives, what they want is just for them to for us to listen. Well, you're just gonna listen the entire time. Like it's gonna be fantastic." And he kind of looked at me like, "Oh, makes sense." So.
Well, hey, if he's an architect, he can build his wife the house she wants. Heck, she'll be even happier, man.
That's
if
right.
he's brilliant like that, Heck,
So
we could use an architect.
Anyway, we can use plenty of stuff, Coach.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you mentioned how much film study you do. What can you tell us about what you've seen out of Bob Jones so far, Coach?
Well, you don't win 38 games by just being okay. You know, they're very good, but they've been very good for a long time. I mean, Jerry does a fantastic job with those guys. So it's nothing new. It's not like it's Bob Jones is very good this year. No, Bob Jones is very good every year. You know, so we have a plan. One of the things that we do, and I'm proud of this, is, you know, not a lot of teams, and that's not knocking on people. Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm saying not a lot of teams are comfortable in an environment like Bob Jones High School. We are. Like, okay, like, so what? You know, we have played there, I think 5-6 times the past 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we like going to Bob Jones. You know, and that's not like I'm saying. I'm not knocking on anybody else. What I'm saying is that I love competing against them because we kind of feed off the same energy. So we are ready to go. They are a very good team. Obviously, you know, they have Booth, Hermesh. They have the second baseman Pearl, which is, in my opinion, he's my favorite player on that roster. And yes, I'm saying that because he's going to the University of Montevallo. Go Falcons, let's go. So yeah, I mean, they have a good team. They have a good team, and they are ready to go. I know that they are extremely ready. Hungry, ready to go. I know that Jerry studies films as well. I saw him there on Saturday last week. He sent me a text after the game. You know, say, hey, dude, like, congrats on a great win, and we've been in communication all week, kind of planning the times and all those good stuff. So.
Well, and we're looking forward to it. It should be great weather. 4:30 to start. And Coach, you know, you talked about having dudes and. You know, a guy going to the University of Alabama, there's a lot of pressure on guys like that. But I'm going to tell you what, Mikael Holden, you guys are down to the final strike, the final out, and he hits a walk-off grand slam. Can't ask for more from a guy that's considered one of your best players, if not your best player, and a leader on your team to come through like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's something that, you know, regardless what happens today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 10 to 15 years from now, no one is going to forget that moment. There's a moment that you play in video games only dream of in your backyard when you're 7, 8, 9 years old. And I mean, both parties are never going to forget that. Obviously, the Spain part is going to remember it differently than we are. But at the end of the day, they're going to still remember, and we're going to remember it. I know I'm going to remember the rest of my life, just like I remember Tyler Duskin hitting that walk-off game 2 against Will at a very good Coleman team. I will never forget that moment. And I know that these boys will never forget watching that ball disappear and having a walk-off grand slam to win a playoff series. So, yeah, it was a magical moment, and I think that's why, losing all those years of my life coaching is worth it at the end when I see stuff like that. And just like you guys are talking about, it's extremely emotional because I'm a passionate man, and I think that's what the teams that I coach, we don't back down because baseball is what I do. Baseball is what I love, and I want to make sure that the kids that I coach and the coaches that coach with me, they have the same passion. And you know, so what if you share a couple of tears? You know, that just shows your team and your coaches that you're in, that you are here for your team, for your coaches. So yeah, I mean, I'm super proud of those guys.
Nothing like playoff baseball and playoff wins as well.
I mean, and they've already beaten Bob Jones early in the regular season, but that was back in March, and this is the intensity is just different.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely,
different for high school baseball in the playoffs. It really is. And Coach, I know you're not giving away your game plan. Like I said, you have a pitching plan, but as far as just keys, what are the keys to getting another win at Bob Jones, another series win as you did that was so dramatic a year ago?
You know that white thing that has red things around it? It's called a baseball.
Yeah.
All right. You got to throw that across the white plate. Like
there you
That's
go.
it.
Yeah.
The end. you throw strikes in high school sports, you have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Period. You throw strikes in high school sport, you have a chance to win it. You know, if you are looking at all this college and pro injuries of pitchers because they're trying to throw 107 instead of doing the Grit Maddox and have movement in your ball and throw strikes, you know, we need to go back to that. Throw strikes. We throw strikes, we win the game, or we have a chance to win every game. I'm not saying we're going to win every game if we throw strikes, but we have a better chance to win in the game because of our offense being so explosive.
That's right.
You know, so what if we give up 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12? We can score, you know. So
you certainly can, and it's a chance for Thompson trying to win their first state baseball championship under Frankie Perez. They made a run to the semis last year. They're trying to make an even deeper run this year, and it's going to be great stuff. And you can go to GoFan. You can also pay at the gate. And Thompson had a great contingent that followed them last year. I was a part of that crowd. Man, I was just in the middle of it. Just on, I was like I was watching the tennis match back and forth between these two great programs. But we certainly wish you safe travels, Coach, and good luck this weekend. Hope the weather holds out. But we know they got turf there at Bob Jones. You guys have a plan for that too. But it's going to be great theater. And once again, congrats on another tremendous year and making another run at a state championship. And we always appreciate the relationship and the time you give us. And good luck to Thompson and the Warriors at Bob Jones.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Mind that blood pressure there, Coach.
Oh, Coach, before you go, one more thing. I got to ask you. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I got to ask you about this because I can't believe I almost let it slip. But what about Jordan Beck? I know how much he meant to you. Making his major league debut, man. I know that had to be a proud moment for you.
Yeah, you know, I talked to Chris, the dad, and JB the night before.
Right.
And, of course, I got emotional again. And, you know, I was just telling him how proud I was. And we talked. We had a very short conversation. Just kind of, you know, I was trying to let him just lead the moment. I'm sure he's going to get a bunch of calls. So, so when the announcement came out, I knew about it already, but I was in my office after practice, and myself with our entire coaching staff watched that line drive off the middle, which is so fitting of Jordan. It's like, well, this is what I do. I'm going to hit for a living. Hanging breaking ball, he hits it to the
center field,
the middle of the field. His second hit, he had 2 strikes. Breaking ball again, line drive to the middle. And that's just who he is, you know. I was telling folks the other day, it's like I remember getting in a little bit of trouble. I'm not saying I got in big trouble, but a little bit of trouble back in 2018, 2019, when people asked me about Jordan, and I said, look, I might be biased because I coached the kid, but I don't remember ever having. I don't know if Hazel Green has ever had a better player that has the potential of being a big leaguer. And I guess, look, he's a big leaguer now, and he just turned 23 years old.
Wow.
So I'm not shocked. I know the people that watch him play. I know you guys are not shocked because we've been talking about him, how great he's been from his high school times to SEC baseball to minor league ball to the big leagues now. So, but yeah, I mean, Mom said this, and I love that she said that Jordan has a bucket list, and I'm sure that making it to the big leagues is one of them. But staying in the big leagues is definitely a huge, huge square in his bucket list. So this is not the end. I'm sure he's going to continue to work and learn. And I can't wait for the next 15 years of his career when he's 38, 37, 38 as one of the greatest ones to ever play the game. So
he's certainly one of the greatest we've ever had here. And the ball just sounded different coming off of his bat. I'll never forget going to a playoff series against Coleman with Hazel Green. And every time he came up, if they got him out, Coleman acted like they won the World Series. I mean, it was unreal. It was great. Well, Coach, you certainly played a huge role in his development as well. But good luck to you, and thank you for those thoughts, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
No, Jordan Beck. I mean, I'm telling you, Steve.
When I saw him rake on his, it's the Rockies need some help, and they're going to get it.
He absolutely is a stud. He was a great basketball player too. He could definitely have played at somewhere like UAH.
Yeah,
he was such a good baseball player. And I mean, I know we need to go on our final break, but Jordan Beck is special. I think he's going to be a 10-year plus big league. I agree with Coach.
Is this where I mentioned a Mike Honcho reference?
Oh yeah.
Let's take our final timeout.
We don't have any Marlboros, though.
97.7 97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, our tomorrow's headlines today is going to feature Jimmy Lay, who's kind enough to join us. And
Westminster having a great year.
Yes, they are. Jimmy, I appreciate you calling in. Steve Moulton and Drew DeArmond here with you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, Westminster's got a lot going on here in the spring. You got the number 5 4A Westminster Christian baseball team hosting North Jackson. Westminster, one of the teams that beat Bob Jones this year at Bob Jones, so they're having a great year. Jackson Lange, Lawson Collier, Riley Friend, and Sean Lipinski's, all those guys looking to make it to the Final Four. Also, you got the girls' soccer team tonight at Mars Hill, the defending state champs, trying to make another trip to the Final Four. And then if that wasn't enough, you got Monday, the girls' softball team playing in the regionals in Florence, led by Carly Gothard, who struck out 23 of the 37 batters she faced in the regional tournament last weekend. So a lot of great things going on in Westminster.
Yeah, no doubt. I know the baseball team's been highly ranked all year. They've had a great year, and I remember seeing that they did beat Bob Jones in a game during the regular season. So if they beat North Jackson, this will be a Final Four trip for them. And congratulations to the Wildcats, and another great year for Westminster athletics, as we know what Louis LeBlanc did, best team in school history this year. But great stuff, Jimmy, and we appreciate you calling.
Thanks, guys.
Our apologies for the quick visit right there, but we just kind of ran a little long with Coach Perez. So,
but we had to talk about Jordan Beck. He's such a special athlete. Yeah. He'll be in the Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame one day. I mean, he's one of the more underrated guys to ever come through Madison County, no question.
Well, if you enjoy Drew and myself, we're going to add Wes Neighbors to the fold tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hopefully there will be working better by then.
Maybe we'll be on a remote.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson